we need to be voting early. If you don't like voting by mail, if you don't feel comfortable putting your ballot in a ballot drop box, that's fine. But Republicans, sane Americans who don't fall for the modern day Democrat Party mainstream agenda, we cannot just be waiting until election day for a few reasons. Number one, so many things can happen on election day. You could have bad weather. You could have a personal emergency. You could have a work emergency. You yourself could have no emergency, but you could go to your polling place and machines can be down, right? And then maybe your car breaks down. See, the other side doesn't have this distrust of the voting process, and I understand why we have the distrust that we do, but it impedes us because the rules have changed, and hopefully if we ascertain power, we can change the rules back, we can reform the rules. You know, my personal preference would be 1 day of voting. Everybody gets it off work. It's a national federal holiday and it's paper ballots and that's it. But maybe 3 days at the most, you know, not a month of voting and not mail-in ballots sent out to everyone. In my state, that's what happens. A mail-in ballot gets sent out to everyone, regardless of whether you request one. You don't have to request one. And we also don't take voter ID, okay? I have not shown voter ID since the first time I voted. No one ever looks for voter ID in my state. So I would like to reform the rules in a lot of ways. And, you know, maybe if we ascertain power, good people, we can do that. But right now the rules have changed, and when we refuse to play by the rules, it ends up biting us in the butt. So when the other side is willing to mail in their ballot and vote early, and they're ballot harvesting, and they're doing this and they're doing that, and they're going to the drop box, they don't have the same, an emergency happened on the day of, and now I can't vote. They're not as impeded by that. Sure, an emergency might happen, but a lot of them have already voted, so it doesn't matter, right? Secondly, when you vote early, that means that the campaign can cross you off the list, especially if you are in a swing state. They no longer have to text you. Every time they send a text, it costs money. They no longer have to knock on a door, whatever the case may be, send you an email. They know that you have voted. So if you are someone who is passionate about politics and you know that you're voting, if you know you're voting, and you know who you're voting for, and nothing is going to sway you, and you're not still sitting there with your thumb up your butt deciding, go vote. Because that means that the Trump campaign, for example, I hope you're voting for President Trump, can cross you off the list. And they don't have to expend any more resources trying to get you to the polls. They can focus on people who are maybe first-time voters, who are maybe unlikely voters, who maybe don't understand how to vote, how to register, how to do those things. Maybe people who were going to sit it out, people who are undecided. If you're someone who's passionate about Donald Trump, and no matter what, you're getting out and you're voting for Donald Trump, do not wait until November 5th, because it helps the resources in the campaign be focused towards people who might actually need them and getting out the vote more. So I understand if you don't want to mail in your ballot. I understand if you don't want to go to a drop box, but you should take advantage of voting early if it is available to you, because if you think stuff is going to happen behind the scenes and they're going to maybe not be totally on the up and up, they're going to do that anyway. You waiting until the day of, again, does not stop them from doing that. It only possibly impedes you from voting, and it only possibly drains campaign resources when it could have been served better elsewhere. So get out and vote. Hopefully someday we can go towards 1 day of election, 3 days of election. That's it. Maybe paper ballots, you know, maybe someday. But right now, again, the rules have changed, and it's high time that Republicans use the rules to their advantage. And I'm glad to see more of that with ballot harvesting in the states where it's legal. Republicans are doing that. That's what we need to do to win. We need to use the rules to our advantage to win, because the other side is already doing that.